To go live. It says I'm ready to go live. Am I going live? Am I going live? I don't. Oh, wait. Ready to go live. It says I'm ready to go live.
Let me
Am
turn
I
this
going
off
live? So I do not kill y'all with that noise. I'm going to mute this, hit that, make this live. Woo! Somehow, by the chair of my chinny chin chin, I pulled it off. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, the chat was fired up while I was getting this going. So, man, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad all of y'all are here. Looks like a lot of familiar names going on in there. Oh, we got delay. We got delay, I hear. What does it sound like? Does it, let's see what's going on. How bad is the delay? Because I can adjust the delay on my end. Audio sync issues. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to turn this off. And I'm going to apply it. And hit OK. Let's see what that does to the syncing issues. It may work, it may not. Again, for those of you who don't know, I'm using new software tonight, and I don't exactly know what I'm doing. AV Guy says I'm off by 1 second. 1 second behind. All right, let's do this. Apply it and hit OK. I did. I hit apply and hit OK. Actually, let me change that. That would be 1 milliseconds. So let me do this. I never know what I'm doing. I really don't. I am flying by the seat of my plants for the majority of the time. Hopefully the quality of the video is good. You know, like I said, this is again another new setup because I'm never satisfied with whatever it is I'm doing. So the delay is worse, or it seems a little better, because I'm getting both. Quality should look better. Just cover your mouth with the microphone screen so we don't know the delay. AV Guy, where are you? Comment in here. Just start talking nerdy and preach. I can totally get in here like this and that way. Oh, I'm right on now. Excellent. Excellent. Got it. Much. Hey, good to go. All right, so for those of you that are just tuning in and have never seen the show before, I'll tell you a little bit how this goes. So I am Matt Martin, and my channel is The Grass Factor. I do not typically refer to myself as The Grass Factor, but I am going to roll with it. And the chat is so awesome. Okay, so anyway, like I said, for those of you who don't know, the channel is The Grass Factor. Every Sunday, every Sunday. I've been off the last month because we've been trying to get Carbon X into production. We'll have some updates about that later today. But typically how this goes is it is an open format, meaning I roll with it. Whatever happens, happens. I don't plan it. I don't script it. I purely like to let the chat dictate the way the show was going to go. So, if you have questions, feel free to ask in the chat. I will follow. If you have concerns, don't address them to me. Address them to someone else. I do not have time for it. I'm just kidding. I make that up. But if you do, in all seriousness, if you have chat questions, list them in the chat, and I will make an effort to get to each and every one of them. It will take me a minute because as questions usually start rolling in, they come in by the dozens, and I like to spend a normal amount of time and give a decent amount of legitimate answers. How about that? I'm off my A game because I've been off it for a month, so I am feeling a little bit slow. I apologize in advance, but I'm going to do the best that I can to have the best show that I can. So, again, if this is your first time, let me tell you how this also works. When we get in here, I like to do a little bit of a thing called the roll call. And that's where I like to give a big shout out to the names I recognize and the names I don't recognize. So, I'm going to go down the list here and give everybody a big what's up. I'm going to start right up here with John Pinkerton. As we are bringing the stress of winter to a close, let me tell you what you need to be doing. You need to hop over to That One Cupcake Place, thatonecupcakeplace.com in Hiawatha, Iowa, and make an order. Because let me tell you, we're not just talking about normal cupcakes here. This is not sponsored. With my 10,000 subscribers, I do not have sponsors. I wish I did. If anybody's looking for sponsorship opportunities, please reach out to me at thegrassfactor@gmail.com. But seriously, everybody go show some love to John Pinkerton and family. So there we are. That's the start of it. Thatonecupcakeplace.com. Show some love. Continuing on with the roll call. We got RBL Jackson going on in here. Steak and Shake. What's going on? John Falken. I will not say that about Connor because I have nothing but love in my heart for Connor. I will say nothing negative about him. Gorgonzola. Oh, Thomas G. What's up, David? Whoa. David Watkins. David Watkins. I left a word out, and you know which word I left out, but it's for the piece. You know what I'm saying. Eric Von Waddell, what's going on, good sir? Chris, that's French for Voigt. Ballistic, how are you? Way up there on the other side of Oregon. I almost used your real name there and realized that would have been a big boo-boo, but I didn't. Lush Lawns, Aaron Donnelly. How are you, my masshole of massholes up in the New England area? I feel sorry for you still having to be out there with the snow and the city and everything you do. But hey, God love you. It was awesome meeting you. It was awesome meeting your wife. I had so much fun with you. I hope you had fun. For those of you who don't know, Lush Lawns got me to stay awake until 3 o'clock in the morning. My goodness. I've not done that since I was 20 years old. Wow. Chris Elms is in the house. Jeremy Swatkins, he's coming to get you. Jeremy Swatkins, have you met Officer Elms? Because Officer Elms is in here. How are you, Chris? Chris is one of my real-life brothers. You know what I'm saying. AV guy, how are you? Thanks for the help and get this going. You know. John Teague, Mr. Thor himself. Justin Gandy, Todd Holmes, Travis Williamson, Esquire. More names. Jay Wyred, Barry Kavanaugh, Scoot Dog. What's up, Scoot Dog? I don't know your name, but I love that. Scoot Dog. Ken Titus. Glad to see your name here. The Lawn Stripes, my friend Viper from over in the Discord. Running this on a dinosaur, he said. You know what I'm trying not to. Gravy, look out. Gravy is going to be a new lawn care YouTuber, and he may be faceless and voiceless. I think John Ware started out that way, and you know how that ended up, don't you? Gravy. Let's see here. Let's see. So Curb Appeal Lawn Care. What is going on, man? How are you? Glenn Stevens, my buddy up in Newark. Gary Evans, I am live. You are right, sir. Ray the Green Dog. Josh Miller. Man, look at all these beautiful people in here. GG Turf, what's up, homie? How are you? Mark Taylor. Man, TJ Owens, what's up, dude? Mr. Nettles and Steve Wright, what is going on? Realo, Dad, Mike, just so many names in here. Everybody I know. I feel like my family's just here to hang out. All right, I'm going to go down here to the bottom, scroll up just a little bit, see if I see any open questions. I don't see any. How many 7-ounce Coronas can 4 grown men drink after closing the bar? That's a trick question, Lush Lawns, because it's unlimited. That is the answer, unlimited. Let's see. Hard work equals results. Waiting for the X Factor. That's what I'm talking about, Dennis Page. Samuel Guzman, what's going on? Hey, from PA. Back to nature. What is good, my man? we were just talking about all the Coronas we had in the room. Brian Morales, how much for a bag of Carbon X with shipping? Brian Morales, South Florida. SoFlo, baby. Woo! I believe for homeowners, it's going to be coming in at $64.99 for a 50-pound bag. What's going on, Ace of Spades? Everybody show Ace of Spades. Oh, John Jastrogapsky up in New Jersey. Some love up in Barnegat. What's going on, John? Troy, I don't know why I made myself laugh there. Troy, how are you? Russell Skipper! The one cupcake place on Trucker Radio. Oh, it's funny, Alan. That does sound like a CB handle, doesn't it? St. Louis Lawn Guru, how are you, good sir? Well, we're not going to talk about those. Derek Magnuson, Minnesota. Woo! Colonel Corn, how are you? Dave Reese, John McLaren, Buppin. There we go. Adele, Iowa. So you weren't exactly in Des Moines when we met up there, were you, John? Let's see here. Referred watch you from someone else. Here's my question. You've probably been asked. What got you in the lawn fertilization? I guess real quickly, if you haven't seen a whole lot of the history of how I got into it, there's been a couple of times I've talked about it a little bit, but it went like this. I failed in engineering as an engineer, and so I went to the next best thing, which was the idea of golf, right? So I was super into the idea of playing golf the rest of my life, and so somehow, some way, I knew I did not want to get into golf course design because I do not have an artistic function to my brain. I just don't work well that way, so I figured, what the hey, maybe I can just make the grass green. And so I did what any normal person would do, and maybe not, that may be a little strong, but I got a job at True Green, and ended up turning it into a career with a company called Fairway Lawns, and yeah, I mean, that's really just about how it went. I really enjoyed my time at Fairway Lawns. I thought I could do it better myself if I opened my own business, and I'll tell you right now, I could not. But yeah, that's how I got into it. So, I always give a lot of the DIY community guys a little bit of flack about being in IT because so many of them are IT, but they had a good point. They really enjoy problem solving, and that's where they do so well at work. And also when they're at home, that problem-solving portion of their personality trait, of their work trait, of who they are as a human, comes out again, and it gets to come out in the form of something nice like lawn care. So I think I'm kind of in that same kind of boat. I like to problem solve, and I work really well with instant gratification. So turf grass is a really good thing for me. And then once you learn how to do it and get some basics down, then you can start planning each of your applications for the results of what's going to happen 7 weeks down the road. So, yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, very simply, that's how I got into it. Lush lawns and coffee and moons over Miami Denny's. Safe and avoiding some tornadic activity, my goodness. Man, yeah, Gravy, it did drain out here. It got real high, real waterlogged around here, and it did drain. But I guess we got 2 inches, something like that, today, or between last night and today. And the water is making its way back up to my driveway again, but I don't think it's going to go over the driveway like it did when I was in Florida. Wow. There was a big twister that hit Alabama today. I did not know that. My goodness, I'm going to have to look that up after this show. Normally when you're up, there's John. Oh, John Falcon. I know who you are now. You are New Lawn John in the Discord. I know exactly who you are. No, yeah, kind of. I mean, this is the room where I did the whiteboard videos, and I had to turn it into the office because I have to do so much work from the house now. So that's what I decided to do. I'm going to actually try to become a real YouTuber at some point. So I built a little bit of an office, and yeah, so this is actually what I'm doing here. I'm not getting a lot of questions about lawns right now, and I would really like to talk about grass stuff because I'm tired of winter. You know what I'm saying? Legionnaire's disease at the black coffee at Denny's to wash it down. Man, that is funny. Let's see here. 5 to 10 inches coming tonight. For those of you that are on the chat, I'm up, like I'm way up because it takes me longer to read through all of it, so I will get to it. Carbon X working less than a week and 40s for temperatures, getting green. Sharp Edge Lawn Care, that's what I'm talking about. Hey-o! I'm going to take a deep breath of fresh air on that one. Because you plan, you know what's in Carbon X, and you've even put it out, and you've seen what happens, but at the same time, you never know. It's like that first time you blanket spray a yard with the new weed control, and for the next hour afterwards, you wonder, did I actually accidentally kill that yard? You know what I'm saying. We had a long winter in Idaho, worried about salt use for walkways getting on lawns. Would you use Humic 12 to break that up, and what rate? Or is there a different product you would use? So if you're concerned about salt buildup, I would probably use something with calcium in it to neutralize the salt or help flush it. So probably the most commonly used thing for salt buildup would be calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate is also known as gypsum, and gypsum will work well to flush salt from the soil surface. What's up, Chandler? How are you? When to apply Carbon X up here in Connecticut. So, Mark, this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you exactly when to do it, but I will say this. When it is time for you to apply nitrogen, that would be when you apply Carbon X. That's a very simple blanket way of putting it. There's a lot more that goes into that, but that's a very blanket statement. How long does it take to make a pallet of Carbon X? Right now, as of Friday, it took about an hour to make. And what we found, so here's the Carbon X update. Let me give everybody a Carbon X update. I'll go ahead and get it out of the way because I got 2 questions in a row that kind of help answer this. So, when we started planning for Carbon X and building the plant, what you do is you take your ingredients, your materials, and you send it to manufacturers, and they use the material you send them to accurately size your equipment. And then once they size your equipment, you can then, project how much it's going to cost to purchase that piece of equipment, and then they'll manufacture it for you. So we did this, and we did this with 4 tests over the course of a year, and we got all our equipment in, and a lot of where we were struggling from the get-go was with automation settings. So we could not get the plant to run at the amount of automations we had programmed into it. So we're having to do it a lot manually, and then we're having to make adjustments on the conveyors and hoppers nonstop. Stripping gearboxes, putting bigger motors on there, and new gearboxes on there too, beefed up gearboxes. So once we got all of that kind of kinked out, anywhere we had a bottleneck in the process began to show up pretty significantly. And what we noticed is one piece of specialty equipment we had, there was a big bottleneck. It was rated to put through many tons an hour. And it was putting out about 1 or even less than 1 ton per hour. And that's not what we need. That's not how we projected. So that puts us immediately, behind the 8 ball. So we contacted the manufacturer. They sent their technician out. They ran tests on the equipment that they sized for us, and they were replicating the results we were getting, meaning they could not get the amount of material through it that they had planned on getting through it. So they accepted responsibility and started they started designing a new motor and attachment system for this specialty equipment. They shipped that to us. It got there on Friday. They spent the weekend installing it with them and the electrician, and we're going to start commissioning that new setup on Monday. So we'll see how it goes. I can't say this is going to be an ace in the hole, but it certainly should be better than where we were. For the guys in North Carolina right now, a lot of them have gotten their shipments, at least the professional applicators there. And we're basically going down the list of who paid first and who needs it most quickest. So we are still on pro orders right now. So there we go. Oh, video froze. Let me do this. Let me see if this fixed it. And pull that up. Yeah. Give me just a second. It'll update here. When I talk for a little bit, it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be coming. I'm updated on my side. Let's see. Come on. Update, baby. There we go. Okay. So anyway, that's where we are. We will see if how much that increases throughputs. We may have to make more changes, but in theory, we should be at least double of what we were putting out, and according to them, we may be even greater than that. We may be triple of what we're putting out, but we were slated to be 6 times what we're putting out. So it's a struggle. It is definitely a struggle. It's a learning curve, and we're all trying to figure it out as we go. So there it is. That's the update. We will we'll keep going on here. Man, my goodness, the chat is on fire tonight. Let's see here. I am way behind you. Here in Michigan, just wait for the snow. How much methane gas do cows from Nebraska have to produce to contribute enough to climate change to help bring this winter to a close? That's a great question. I don't know the answer. Brett, I can confirm nor I can deny that. Yes, but there's nothing wrong with Connor Ward. Y'all leave him alone. Temps were 70, soil temps were 55 to 60 for a week. Now we have 16 degrees overnight. Will that kill any crab that emerged? And stick with Pro-D or switch to Dimension. RBL Jackson, that will kill any crab that had germinated, and I would probably stick with Pro-Diamine. Goff. Alan, you do not need to do that. Don't, I don't want to hear it. Stop it. This is going to be my first year using a pre-M. I think I'm going to keep it simple with a split app of Pro-Diamine. Any benefit of adding quinclorac to the second app? Ice Bank myself. IBME. Okay, Gravy, this is what I would do. I love being part of the adventure. Diablo will be here when ready. Hey, we're going as hard as we can in the paint. So a split app of Pro-Diamine is a great place to start. Would there be any benefit to adding quinclorac in the second app? Quinclorac is a very good broadleaf weed control. So if you're dealing with broadleaf weeds, then yeah, it may be a good thing to add. But if your soil temperatures are at 55 or less, then you probably don't need to add quinclorac to that second app. In my opinion, that seems like just a little much for no real reason. Quit it! Who's this? I don't want it. Stop it. Y'all are making me sweat. It's not updated on my side, so I can't see who that is yet. I read it. I just got to get there. Ice Bank myself. I don't know. Oh, it's ballistic. Stop it. Stop it. Yay, True Green. What are y'all doing? Quit. That is so unnecessary. Stop it. Did a lot of work on my lawn last year. I have a lot of plans for next year, but I just got a new dog. Have seen how they're... Man, y'all, I'm telling you, you better stop it. It is unnecessary. I do not need your money. You make me uncomfortable when you do that. Quit it. Y'all stop. Aaron, stop it, Aaron. I don't know who this next one is. All I can see is purple, and gauging by the chat, I'm going to guess that's AAA Huskers. I don't know. I can't see the name yet, but quit. Quit it. It's Terry Finch. Stop it. Man, y'all are bananas. I love y'all. Y'all have no idea how much I love y'all. Troy, there is no way to prevent the dog TT that ruins the yard. The only thing I could, so as someone that once told me was the solution to pollution is dilution. And I don't think they mean that like, literally just dilute it. But if you think about it, every time the dog pees, you follow it with a water hose and wash it out because it's the concentration of salts that build on the leaf tissue that cause the damage. So if you can, or that accumulate actually in the soil surface too, I've seen that happen. So what I would recommend is every time the dog pees, water it down, dilute the urine, and then you will also dilute the potential for damage. Hey, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that, buddy. And I appreciate that, Ryan. Split App was my nickname. Aaron, stop it. Stop. Aaron, what are you doing? Man, is it advisable to apply pre-emergent on top of No! No, Josh, do not do that. Us IT guys' brains never shut off. I believe that. Lay off the IT peeps. We need love and coffee. I love the IT guys. I'm a closet IT guy. I'm jealous of y'all, and I'm not kidding. You should see the PC I just built. I built it purely so I could fit in with the IT guys. I've had a hose bust 20-gallon on tank sprayer that was loaded with aerate and RGS back in the fall. I had to wash driveway off. It ran into grass beside the driveway. Now it's super lush and green in that area. That is a good sign, Josh. That is a really good sign. I've watched you leading up to creating your own blends. What got you to start creating blends? Curb appeal. So we're not actually going to be blending a whole lot. There's only going to be like one product we blend, and that's Carbon X. So what we actually do is we homogenize one base material, and then we blend that to make Carbon X. So like our homogenized product is an 818 with 4% iron and roughly 6 ounces of RGS per 3 pounds. So 2 ounces. Stop it! I can't see who it is. Who is this? I'm going to the bottom. So we Bert, no thank you. Gravy, no thank you. David, what are you doing? Y'all stop. Ice Bank Mice Elf. I don't know what is going on. Man, I am freaking out. Oh, I'm turning red. Y'all quit. Quit it. Man, that threw me off my game. So I had a guy actually approach me, and I wanted to work with biochar. And I had a guy approach me. He's my business partner, and he said, I can develop a process to granulate this, which was ideal for me as an applicator. I wanted to be able to use biochar in a manner that was easy to use. And having it in a granular that did not take a dedicated truck to tote it around was great for me. So I said, stop it, John. Stop it. So John, my business partner, John Borden, developed a process for granulating biochar, and then we started looking at what different things we could do with it, and then what other things we could add to it as we granulated it. So, like I said, we homogenized that 818 with 4% iron, and we use RGS, and our process is pretty unique in the sense that we can take 40 gallons of different liquids and incorporate that into a Gravy. I saw you said I can't breathe. I don't know what is going on. Y'all are making me nervous. I'm so off my A game. I am sorry. So we knew we could add 40 gallons of a liquid overall to the to a ton of granular for 2,000 pounds. And so, that's what we started doing, was playing with different liquids. And I'm a huge fan of Green County's RGS. And so that was where I wanted to start. We've played with some other Green County products, and I'm not going to give away what's in the pipeline right now, but I will say we are working with other liquids too. And I'm not going to say we can definitively do aerate. I don't think it's going to work or function that way. We tried some remedial stuff, and it was causing degradation. So I think, a lot of those are going to be best applied as a liquid. But we're playing with a lot of what Greene County puts out just to see what we can do with it. I'm assuming not, but does a liquid aeration product such as aerate have the same effect on pre-emergent as mechanical aeration? Ryan, no, because you're talking about, so the whole principle behind it is to use a chemical that will flush through the soil really quickly, and then as that flushes through and creates basically, very minute openings as minerals get flushed through, you replace that with a carbon component. In this instance, it would be, humic acid. So you drive wedges. You drive wedges with a really fast-acting, fast-moving potassium, and then you backfill those wedges with carbon. So I don't think you're going to get enough of a wedge from a chemical reaction with potassium hydroxide that would negate the effects of a pre-emergent. So no, it's not going to be the same. Have the entrepreneur blues passed yet? It never goes away. Fatty's roll call show that LCN needs to show with his college names. Make me wonder about doing super heavy dosage of both if it has that big of an effect. You have to be careful. High applications of aerate, Josh, can dehydrate the grass. Potassium hydroxide is caustic. And it's relatively salty. It flushes really quickly. Stop it, Lush! What are you doing, Aaron? Damn it! Stop! Quit it! Coronitas. Y'all are crazy. I can't focus with this going on. No, this is not where you order your Carbon X. Stop it. Ballistic? Okay. You do not want to use aerate in high applications because it can be caustic, and it can be it is salty and it is caustic, so it can dehydrate the grass. And what you'll see happens is that you'll cause the grass to shrivel up under really, really high rates. Now, I can say I ran, 9, maybe 12, maybe 15 ounces to the acre, I believe. I've got a video where I did it on my fescue. This was prime growing season, so, April timeframe, and it was to no ill effect. And the grass actually did really well. And around the same time, and the very last scene of the video I put out earlier today, I'm actually talking about aerate when I sprayed it on my Bermuda grass. So you can see where I used it on a couple different turf types, and just to give you some more ideas. Matt, I want to use Ringer in the spring and Milo in the fall. Does that sound good to you? Eric, it sounds perfectly fine. I do not see anything wrong with that. I think that's a good plan. It's amazing how comfortable you are. Yeah, my first Whiteboard Wednesday was awful. My goodness, I was really nervous. What kills Star of Bethlehem? I would use either sulfentrazone or... yes, I would use sulfentrazone. Maybe add a triclopyr to it, depending on your turf type. Ronald Parrish, Carbon X, when can DIY get it? I don't know yet, Ronald. I do not know. We missed the fly on the wall that was always behind you. How about a good herbicide for centipede infested with clover and yellow wood sorrel? Lambert, I would run Speed Zone Southern as well as Celsius. How about that? How about that for a little? Ooh. Matt, 4,000 square foot front lawn. What's the max rate of CX I can throw down when I get some? There's no real reason to run more than a pound of nitrogen per thousand. So, that would be 4 pounds per thousand. Max rate, I don't even know. You could probably go as high as 1.5 pounds, maybe even a little more. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. I wouldn't do that. My pH is low. Notice that aerate has a pH of 13.7. Will it also help my lawn pH as well as compaction? Gary Evans, you probably won't see just a gigantic improvement of your soil pH with potassium hydroxide because it's just going to move too fast. And that's just the reality of it. It will move really, really, really quickly. So in that instance, I would stick to lime to mitigate your pH, and then use aerate for what it's intended to be used for. And that's just to create a little bit of space in your soil. Okay, you want questions? I've always got them. How does Permagreen work on smaller lawns, less than 10,000, 5,000? What equipment did you use on the smaller lawns? RBL Jackson, I use a Permagreen on every property, every application, whether it's a 2,000 square foot yard or a 10,000 square foot yard. I was that comfortable on the machine. I could do anything on it. So lawn size was never an issue. It was always the gate size. And the beautiful thing about a Permagreen is that it's only 36 inches wide, so I could always get it through a gate. There you go. Let's see here. I'm going to jump out the chat and just go up and watch. First mode this weekend to keep the tiller and cranking. That's what I'm talking about. Swatkins, man. It's going to kick your door in. What's the best post-herbicide for POA when it's too late in the year for glyphosate in Bermuda lawns? That's a good question. So typically I like MSM. That's a good one, Ray. I completely forgot about MSM. Especially now, you're probably in transition to whoever was asking that on their centipede. And MSM would not be a bad way to go. Let's see. I would use either Revolver or Monument. Maybe throw a little bit of sulfentrazone in there as a kicker for a little foliar damage. But yeah, I mean, I think those would be your best two options. Now, if you're not familiar with the study done by NC State, they talk about spraying glyphosate on partially greened up Bermuda lawns. And typically, you do not cause lasting damage. You may delay green up by 7 to 14 days by making that application, even when it was 25 to 33% greened up already. In fact, at 16 ounces to the acre, that is the highest rate listed for chemical mowing as an herbicide application on actively growing Bermuda grass. So think about that as you start moving into June. You can apply up to 16 ounces per acre and not cause lasting damage. Use gypsum for salt. Saved my edges last year. That's what I'm talking about. How long does the ground temp need to stay over a 50 degree before pre-emerge should go down? Mark Taylor, you can apply it as soon as temperatures hover over 32. So 32 to 55 is going to be the sweet spot. And I'll give you an example. Here in Tennessee, typically, I would make my first prodiamine application around January 15th. And then I would make my second one somewhere around March 15th. And I never had issues with crabgrass. Same thing when I was in Memphis. I would typically make first applications in January, second applications in March. That's just the way we did things. Now, again, from a commercial perspective, we had a lot of properties to get to, and it took us a long time to get to those properties, so we had to start then. You don't have to as a homeowner. You can start as you do get closer to 55, but you're not wasting pre-emergent by putting it down when your soil temperatures are 42. I just want to make that clear. What can you use in Kentucky bluegrass and Michigan to lower the pH in the lawn? There are products like Tiger Sul, elemental sulfur, ammonium sulfate, all diammonium phosphate, which you probably can't apply that in Michigan. Anything ammoniacal, nitrogen-wise, is going to be acidifying, and sulfur in general is, elemental sulfur in general is acidifying. What's the cheapest way to kill POA, southern in California? What is your turf type, Marco? There is no cheap option to kill POA. I will say that. Unless you're in an area where Bermuda grass goes completely dormant. If you're in an area where Bermuda grass goes completely dormant, you can kill it with Roundup, assuming you can make a blanket application. However, if you are outside of an area where the grass or Bermuda doesn't go dormant, then you're limited to one of the sulfonylureas, and it is not cheap. How about that? Cheaper to use 16, 15, 15 or similar? Oh, yeah, there we go. It's always time to apply it. Ray's on fire, baby. I kind of want to stay organic. Well, okay. Eric, you know Milo is not organic, right? It sounds like the plant could use Rhonda because she has a motor in the back of her Honda. I get it, Toby. That is, man, you have been... Got my soil test back Friday. Looked pretty good, except a little low on the micronutrients. We'll be getting some Microgreen 002 to straighten that out. That's a good place to start, Bert, for sure. My equipment... Let's see. Oh, yeah, that was back. Wow, I just got to where it froze. My goodness. Poa annua and fescue. Can I apply a treatment to eliminate? Or what is good method to get it out of turf tall fescue? Poa constrictor. Yes. Poa constrictor. Ethofumicate would be good. You typically will have to combine it with something else. So think, ethofumicate plus quicksilver. What is this? Is this David again? I don't know what's going on. I'm really frigging out. Yeah, so ethofumicate would be where you want to start. Either add quicksilver as a kicker, or sulfentrazone as a kicker, or tenacity as a kicker. All of those would be good. Remember, more sites of action means greater overall efficacy. I'm looking at it as an option too. Let's see, log out, then log back in. All good. That's what she said. Oh my goodness, look at all this. I am so far behind. Okay, I'm going to go to the bottom now, and then I'm going to go back up. I'm sorry if I skipped over your question. I'm going to do my best to get these answered. The Lawn Guardian is here. What's up, Ben? All right, let's see. Best POA herbicide in Mississippi, Bermuda lawns when it's too warm for glyphosate. Yeah, so you're looking at Revolver or Monument. There you go. Would Revolver work? Yes, it is. I know I can mix it with Celsius in the summer. Yes, you can. I need Ice Bank myself. I don't know. I need anyone for round 3. Get that plant dialed in. Hey, we will talk soon, sir. Or something like Negate or Monument be my better bets. Yes, Monument is good. Negate you can use. I forgot. Monument now has a residential label. Pay attention to the mix instructions on the label. You have to mix that entire contents of that bottle into a liquid, and then you can mix it to spray, because it is not a homogenized product that is in that bottle. It's a blended product, so you have to mix that whole bottle. Look at this. Ray has been the man. He is keeping this bad boy going right here. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. So down here in my area of Florida, we have a FERT ban during the time most would put it down. No nitrogen. I'm in Central Florida. So during the non-nitrogen times, what could be put down? That's pretty easy, Curb. So nitrogen is not the only thing that turns grass green. And I would apply things that turns grass green that is not nitrogen. So we think about... Asami, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So, you think about other things that can be applied, like you can spoon feed micronutrients. You can use biostimulants in combination with micronutrients. You can apply iron. You can extend the duration of your iron by offering a chelated form of iron. Given that you're in Florida, I'm going to guess high pH. You could do like an iron citrate. You can mix your ferrous sulfate with citric acid, and that would give you a little more duration on your iron. So those are the things you would have to be doing. Make sure your K levels are adequate, because when you come out of your nitrogen band, your dead zone, or whatever it's called, the FERT band. Once you come out of that, you're heading right into brown patch season. So just because it's no nitrogen doesn't mean you don't fertilize. It's just you fertilize, but you don't fertilize with nitrogen. So make sure your K levels are adequate to tolerate that brown patch season. Get your micros right, and that way when you do come out of it, you're good to go. You apply a little in, you're on fire. Let's see here. Matt, check out this article from WashU here in med school about smart fertilizer. They're using nanotechnology. I have been reading a lot about nanotechnology that's coming out. And what's interesting about it is there's not really a whole lot of data. So what they're doing right now is when they're putting it into solution, they're vibrating it. And they're saying that this is breaking up the molecular structure of whatever it is they're putting into solution and getting it to go into solution better. I don't know what that means. But Ben, I am super into it right now, and I'm reading a lot about it. What's up, Willie Poole? How are you, good sir? Go Big Orange. Which is funny, William. I was just hanging out with one of my absolute best friends, Mitch, who lives in Memphis. We went and stayed at a cabin in Gatlinburg this weekend. It was good stuff, man. It was really good stuff. Aaron, what are you doing? My goodness. Okay, I think I answered that about the nanotechnology there. Flush is quick. Chris. I'd like to order 1 pound of carbon ice bank myself. What? I put half pound of AS2100 down on my St. Augustine grass. I thought it was coming out of dormancy, but it's not. Was it too soon, and when can I reapply? Bird Dog, I don't know. I don't know what your temperatures are, buddy. It could be coming out of dormancy. It may not be. If it's too soon, it's probably not a giant bad ordeal. It is. It happens. Everybody's done it. I've done it. Everybody's done it. So you'll be okay, and you can reapply when it comes out of dormancy. How much will it cost us for... I'm not doing it. Stop it, Aaron. LSD for your lawn fun. Okay. In Japan, you said the green spots in the park was from pet urine. Are you saying that I can pee in my pump sprayer when times get tough? Bird Dog, yes, you actually can. If you are looking at turf that is extremely deficient in nitrogen, and you were to go to the bathroom on it, it would turn green. So there you go. In fact, where is HD Movie Source? Where is HD Movie Source? I'll give you a perfect example, Bird Dog. There is a guy in the Discord who did nothing but fertilize his yard with his own bathroom. So, yes, it can be done. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to this screen here. And if you would like to contact me or hang out with somewhere where I'm typically in or around, you can find me on the Discord at discord.gg/HFVSF53. Or I'm over at the Lawn Forum. I lurk. I don't comment a whole lot because the guys over there are way smarter than I am. So I typically am learning from them, not offering them advice. You can also find me on Instagram at thegrassfactor, or you can shoot me an email at thegrassfactor@gmail.com. I'll leave that up for a little bit before I switch back over, and I will get back to the chat now. When doing that mix MSM revolver sulfentrazone, do you run lower rates of each because of the combined modes of action? It depends on what you're going after, RBL Jackson. If you're going after broadleaf weeds, I would run a normal rate of MSM. If you're going after like POA in particular, I would run lower rates of MSM, still 4 ounces to the acre of sulfentrazone, and a full rate of revolver. So no, because you'll notice that even if you just run full rate revolver, you won't get as good of a kill overall as if you ran MSM revolver and sulfentrazone. Just saying. Hello, Matt. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. Ken, I'm not going to bring up the score of the basketball game last night. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to say who won. It's none of my business. When and where will it be available? Is there any specific stores in Kentucky that I can purchase, or do I have to get online? Ken, as of right now, it will only be available online. Now, what I am working with is I'm working with Alan and Pete, who are working to get it in stores. Ken, we are a startup. Carbon Earth is a startup. There are 2 guys that handle everything with the business. on the business side of things. And then there's one guy who runs the show in Kentucky where we actually do the manufacturing. So, and we have an industrial engineer, but he works with the plant manager up there, and he is more like mad scientist, cranking out spreadsheets to make sure everything we are supposed to have happening is actually happening. But in terms of actual the business moving forward and where we're going to place products and structuring the logistics of it, I mean, there's two of us that are working on that, and we cannot handle the workload that would bring on. So that's why we are asking people like Pete and Alan and because they're the reason that there was a big push to put it in DIY, because Ken, in a perfect, I mean, just in a brutal sense of complete transparency, I was not keen on offering it to DIY. One, because I'm too emotional, and two, because I designed it for the pro market and what I wanted in the pro market. So I was just a little reluctant to do it. And Alan was very adamant about, and you know, he gave me a heart-to-heart. I froze the camera again. I just unfroze it. It'll take a second. Jeez, I just run my mouth and don't check on anything. I'm going back to this screen with the live chat anyway. Ah, goodness. So anyway, he pushed really hard for it. So anyway, in the event it does make it to retail, right now that burden is gonna lie with Alan and Pete, simply because we don't have the manpower within Carbon Earth to do that ourselves. SureGuard on Dormant Bermuda. Can I spray at 64 ounces per 1,000? 64 ounces per 1,000? Have you sprayed SureGuard at low rates? Are you talking about low rates or low volume? Because if you're talking about 64 ounces per 1,000, I think you're talking about volume. So a half gallon per 1,000. Yeah, you could do low volume applications with that. If you want to double check with anybody at NuFarm, I recommend Rod Marquardt. Rod Marquardt is the man, and that's who you would want to talk to. Let's see. What's up, Jay? How are you, good sir? Glad you made it. My yard is actually totally green, and I was giving some thought to scalping it, but we're going to get into the 30s later this week. My goodness. Man. Let's see here. Chip Dixon, thinking of rolling my own Speed Zone Southern from 3-way and adding sulfentrazone and carfentrazone with reduced rate of 1/3 3-way. Will I still get good results or run full rate 3-way? I would not drop my rate of 3-way to 1/3 at all. You could, I believe that Speed Zone Southern does have, it equates out to like, I don't know, 32 ounces or something. I can't remember. I have a cheat sheet I put together that shows the exact mix of Speed Zone Southern. If you bear with me, I'll get it pulled up and I will make sure everything I'm saying is actually correct. Google Sheets. I love Google Sheets. I live and die by Google Sheets. Let's see here. Here's my database. And what are we looking for? We're looking for Speed Zone Southern. So let me run down here. So it would be the equivalent of 32 ounces. Oh, this is Speed Zone Southern. So it would be the equivalent of 8.85 ounces of 2,4-D ester. And that would be like an LV4. So we're talking about 4 pounds. So at 1/3 of a rate, you're still talking about 20 ounces. So that would be less than traditional Speed Zone, but it would be more than Speed Zone Southern. But the caveat on that is that Speed Zone uses 2,4-D ester. So make sure if you want a true apples-to-apples comparison, you're actually using an ester form of your broadleaf portion of that. If you are using an ambient formulation, I would get real hairy about dropping those rates. I wouldn't do it too much, especially right now while it's still cool. This on T-Nex application for suppression of POA annuus seed head formation. That's on the label, Todd Holmes. It's used in golf. And you'll hear about some people doing some ultra high rates of T-Nex and actually getting POA. I don't have experience with it. I have to join one of these shows, meetups, conferences. Matt, my fall overseed was a bit late. Did a major sprouting pouch. Should I worry about root pruning with the Pre-M app 3 weeks from now? Overseed with Mountain View Seeds, lateral spread, turf type tall fescue. Eric, no sir, you will be fine. You should be good to go. Would you care to comment on the actual differences between organic fertilizers, OMRI registered fertilizers, and mineral or synthetic fertilizers? OSU Turfman bringing the thunder. So, organic fertilizers in general are going to be something that are capable of being registered as organic fertilizers. So, for instance, it has to meet specifications in order to be registered as OMRI. And so typically what they will do is they'll look at your production process and make sure there's no ability to be cross-contaminated with a mineral or synthetic input. And typically what they look for with an organic fertilizer, traditionally it is a mined material. Like, you can have organic calcium sulfate, gypsum, but it has to be mined. You can even have organic boron, but again, it has to be a mined material. Literally, they bring it out of a mine. It isn't chemically or synthetically synthesized into it. And then OMRI is just a certification, right? So you go to OMRI or you go to the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. The one in Oregon is, I cannot remember the name of it right now. Oregon Tilth is up there. There's a lot of different organic registrations, but they just make sure there's no cross-contamination with your fertilizer. So a mineral or synthetic fertilizer can be the same thing as an organic fertilizer, but it's not actually mined. So it could be synthetically produced, synthetically synthesized. It could be a byproduct of, say, of like iron production or stainless steel production, where we get the majority of our ferrous sulfate, right? And mineral, the difference between a mineral and an organic fertilizer is nothing. There's no difference. The plant does not know the difference. The plant has no idea which one is which. Has no idea. Even with it being organic, it doesn't mean there's even a carbon component to it. Not all organic fertilizers have a carbon component. So if your major concern is an organic fertilizer, you have to ask yourself, why actually do you want to apply an organic fertilizer? Do you want to apply it for the carbon component? Because you can much more cheaply apply a carbon component and a synthetic fertilizer that will act, smell, function, work exactly the same as a carbon fertilizer plus a mineral fertilizer. The plant won't know the difference. You don't know the difference. The only difference is that Oregon Tilth will put a stamp on one and Oregon Tilth won't put a stamp on the other. That's pretty simple, but that's about as deep as I'm going to get into it right now. Okay, I recall a video where you did vertical mulching with some trees. We have a row of arborvitae that aren't looking happy. General approach to vertical mulching. Don't do it, John. I'm telling you right now. Do not do it. It is the worst, most painful thing I've ever done in my life. Don't do it. If they look bad right now, it's probably because it's been a wet, cold weather. They will be okay. If you want to do something with it, just feed it aggressively in the spring. Put you some fertilizer stakes in the ground. Spray it with. I tell you what I'd do. The mix that Ray put together. I would put that mix together with some ammonium sulfate and feature and all that, and go spray it and water it in really good. I mean, that's going to be as good as vertical mulching. If you lived in an area where you were dealing with really shallow rock beds, like we deal with here in Knoxville, where we may have a foot or less of soil before you actually make contact with a rock bed, like rock, impenetrable rock. And you get this root system that just girdles and begins to turn on itself and tighten up. Vertical mulching in that instance can be beneficial because you've actually run out of soil surface area. And so you drive the hole in, you tear up the root system, you backfill it with organic material. It gives it new surface area to begin to grow into. Hope that helps. Hey, new to the live stream, but always watch the next day. I want to run microgreen in my Z-spray for customers' lawns. When is a good time? And anything I can't mix with it. Anything that's going to be high pH, Riley Tree and Landscaping, I would not mix with it. Being micronutrients and metals and sulfated metals, it likes a low pH solution to stay in solution. If you add things that are high pH, it will come out of solution. You'll be dealing with solids in your tank. Don't do it. But as long as you're running counter products or other products that are going to be low pH as well, say you want to spray ammonium sulfate with your microgreen, that would be a great thing. Can't do that probably in a Z-spray, but you could apply ammonium sulfate. You could spread it while you spray the microgreen. A good time to do it would be around your pre-stress conditioning time. So think about as you start moving into peak growth and you're at peak growth right before you hit peak stress, right? That would be a good time to apply pre-stress conditioning. That's what a lot of what I enjoy to do. Let's see here. I totally lost my space. Lawn Tips, what's up, man? How are you? Is your finger all right? I hope. I read you got to keep it, so that's good. Let's see. Wow, man, this is good. I have pushed retail to Menards, Ace, True Value, and others. Call if you need a retail conduit. I will, Jeremy. I definitely will. 2,4-D did not kill all the damned bittercress in my centipede. Should I just let it be? I mowed all the seed heads off today. Get you a little metsulfuron and throw it down, man. If 2,4-D did not kill the bittercress, it's because you missprayed it. Now I'm just going to go out and throw that out there. So do it. Matt, I have a neighbor that has a sump pump that empties in between our homes. Let's just say with the rain we've had this winter, that part of my Bermuda is soaked for the last few months. And there's moss growing now. What can I do? You can use Quicksilver or a high rate of iron. We'll get rid of that moss. Hey, no, I love you, Aaron. I love you. What's up, Ben? What's up, Ben Sims, man? Is anyone coming down from Mardi Gras? Man, that sounds fun. Let's see here. If there's stuff needed for the plant with the access to the equipment, you got me on retainer. I'm making sure. I appreciate it, Aaron. I really do. Voice to text, Aussie to English. What is going on in here? Oh, Connor Ward's in here. What do you think about churn gluten as a pre-emergent? Hey, Gav, I believe you're talking about corn gluten. I do not like it, and I'll tell you why. The way it's going to work is by building a cap at the soil surface. And the problem is that when you cap that, you begin to restrict oxygen or airflow to everything below that cap. And you can create anaerobic conditions in the soil. Anaerobic conditions in the soil are not a good thing. It doesn't happen quickly, but it can happen. And if it does happen, that would be a bad thing. Let's see. So, no, I do not like corn gluten. I think it is probably long-term, in excess of 3, 4, 5 years. I do not like that at all. What is an acceptable time limit for soil to not be squishy after a ½ inch to 7 3/4 of an inch? I've got an area that stays saturated for 2-3 days after a rain. Kevin, that can be normal. Now you're really starting to get into really more, what word am I looking for? Soil science. And probably if you've got a particular area that is staying saturated for longer than others, then there's something different with your soil structure there. Simply put, this is a very wide blanket statement. Do not take this as gospel. What it could be is that you had a tree there that was cut down. You have an excess of organic matter there that can hold on to water longer and make it feel mushy. So it's going to be hard to say what exactly you do to remedy that, because it's organic matter. You could put a French drain in it, but that doesn't mean it's going to flush it. You want to use something salty to tame that organic matter. So you could do something, assuming it's shallow, you could dig it out and replace it, or you could dethatch it, or you could use something like the Air 8 to degrade, a high rate of that to degrade some of that organic matter with the high rates of salt. So I have seen French drains work, and I have seen French drains create more problems than they actually fixed. So if you decide to go that route, it is a crapshoot. I will not be attending any conferences that I know of, Jeremy, until the GIE. But that is subject to change. I just don't know what that is right now. The launch drive stop. Salted butter. Salted. Definitely salted. Salted Kerrygold. Let's see. Why are we worried about organics? We're not eating turf. That's a good point, Terry Fitch. We're not. By the way, Matt, I'm a Louisville fan, not a Kentucky fan. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Ken. I'll cheer for Louisville. I will cheer for Louisville. Oh, I got it twice. Salted butter is much greater. Salted butter is much greater. What happened to my wife? I know she was hanging out in here a little bit. Did she disappear? Baby, where'd you go? I don't see you over in the chat. That's how I talk to my wife. Let's see. I went way too far down, way too far up. PPZ 41.8 versus 14.3 for homeowner. Besides cheaper per app with 41.8. Yeah, so the 41.8 is formulated with a penetrant, with an oil base to it. I keep wanting to say ester. It's not, with a petroleum distillate base. So it is very hot. PPZ 41.8 is hot, hot, hot. You overdo it with that, you're going to cause damage. So I probably wouldn't recommend that for a homeowner. Just going to throw that out there. What's up, Tall Fescue Junkie? How are you, good sir? Whoever messes with me is going to get it. Where do we go? Where is Ted? Would buffering the tank mix to a low pH be something to do potentially with the micros? Yeah, sure. You can definitely do that. And again, the easiest way to do that would be with citric acid, because with a lot of sulfated metals, you will get a citrate compound that forms in the tank, and that is a natural chelator. That's a naturally chelated compound. So you're talking about getting some good uptake there. Most economical way to deactivate prodiamine at 0.75 AI to do reseed tall fescue without looking like a chimney sweeper when done. Johnny Fescue, man, there is no good answer. The easiest, as long as it has not been rained on, then you could probably go activated charcoal and spray it as a liquid. If it has been rained on, you're probably going to have to plug it, then apply activated charcoal. Activated charcoal isn't that expensive. It's like $2 1,000 to apply. So it is, it's not the cheapest, but it's also not crazy expensive either. But if you only applied 0.75 pounds, what I would do is probably plug it first. Then I would, what is it called? Golly. Slit seed it. Plug it and slit seed it. And slit seed it in multiple directions. And you'll probably be okay, because I will say this, and I will say this not to recommend it, but I will say this to explain the mistake that I made, Johnny Fescue. I had a lawn that they wanted to apply prodiamine in the fall because of the POA issues in this tall fescue yard. And it was eat up with rust at the time. So my determination was to spray it with propiconazole and barricade at the same time. And the propiconazole, it didn't entirely smoke the grass, but it ended up spiking in September to about like 98 degrees, something like that. And it cooked the grass pretty good. And I seeded right into it right after a prodiamine app within 2 weeks of it. And I would say 80% of it came in. It's not something I would recommend. It was very sickly. It did not look great, and it took a while for it to begin to do things. But I'm just saying it is doable. There's my wife. She is in here. Finally figures out how to get on the chat. Chris Wells, what's up, man? Good to see your name, sir. How are you? Everybody likes salted butter, Connor. I mean, if you go check our refrigerator right now, I'll tell you exactly what's in there. It is Kerrygold salted butter, and I could eat it by the block because it doesn't come in a stick. It comes in a block, and I would eat a block. I'm going to throw that out there. There you go. All right, everybody, we are going to wrap this up. It is 10:13. I have been going on for entirely too long, but I had a fantastic time. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, and if you haven't, let me throw up exactly where you can find me when I'm not doing live streams. You can find me on the Discord at discord.gg/HFVSF53. That is the Lawn Forum Discord. You can find me on the lawnforum.com. I usually do not participate because I'm busy learning from everybody there because there's a lot more people that know what they are doing than I do. It's a great resource. You can find me on the Instagram at thegrassfactor, and you can shoot me an email at thegrassfactor@gmail.com. For those of you with questions about Carbon X, I will give you one more rundown about it really quick. We made some bigger equipment changes at the plant. We are running in automatic mode. However, it is going to take us still time to commission the new equipment, and I still don't have a date that I'm going to be broad spectrum getting it out to everybody. Like I said, the guys in North Carolina have theirs. We are limping right now, but we're limping comfortably. And we want to start being able to walk, and then we will start jogging, and then it'll be a full sprint. So we will get there. When we get there, the pressure that is on my business partner right now, John Borden, is off the wall, and he is handling it so well. If there's ever a hero in this whole thing, it is the whole team, John, David, and Jim in Kentucky, and the guys that are running the plant in Kentucky. I mean, those guys are, it's frustrating, and they are doing really, really awesome up there. So, love all those guys. All right, everybody, I appreciate you tuning in. Y'all have a fantastic evening. Thank you for putting up with me as I learn the new setup and everything that's going on here. All right, everyone, y'all take it easy. Have a good one.